If your blood sugar is still high right now, even after cutting out sugar, even after taking your medication every single day and doing everything your doctor told you, I need you to stop for just a moment because what you are about to hear in the next few minutes could genuinely change the way you understand your own body forever. And I am not saying that lightly. I have spent over 2 decades working with patients dealing with metabolic conditions, including type 2 diabetes. And the one thing I have seen cause more unnecessary suffering than anything else is this: people following advice that only manages their condition instead of actually addressing the root cause. So before you keep going with your day, ask yourself something honestly. When was the last time you felt truly energetic? After a meal? Not sluggish, not heavy, not like you needed to sit down and wait for the tiredness to pass. When was the last time you checked your blood sugar and felt calm instead of anxious? When was the last time you ate freely without calculating, without worrying, without that quiet fear sitting in the back of your mind? If it has been a while, or if you cannot even remember, then what I'm about to share with you is exactly what you need to hear today. My name is Dr. Megan Foster. I have spent more than 20 years working with patients who were told the exact same thing you may have been told: that diabetes is a lifelong condition, that the best you can do is manage it, that you will be on medication forever, that this is just how your body works now. And I want to be very direct with you today. That is not the full picture. Emerging research from some of the most respected institutions in the world is showing us something very different, something far more hopeful. And the science is clear enough now that I feel a genuine responsibility to share it with every single person I can reach. Type 2. Diabetes in most cases is driven by something called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is heavily shaped by diet and lifestyle, which means, and this is the part that matters most, it is not necessarily permanent. Now, I want you to stay with me through this entire video because we are going to go through the most powerful science-backed foods and habits that support natural blood sugar reversal. We will count them down one by one, and I promise you, the number one strategy at the end is the one that has helped people stabilize their blood sugar within just a few months. So do not skip ahead. Each piece builds on the last. But first, let me take a moment to explain what is actually happening inside your body. Because once you understand this, really understand it, everything else will make sense. Think about your bloodstream as a busy highway. And think about insulin as the key that opens the door to let sugar enter your cells where it gets turned into energy. Now, when you eat, your body releases insulin to do this job. Under normal circumstances, the key fits perfectly. The door opens, sugar enters the cells, and your blood sugar stays balanced. But here is what happens over time when the diet is not right. Years of high sugar foods, refined carbohydrates, processed meals, irregular eating patterns. All of this creates what I like to call metabolic rust. The locks on your cell doors get coated with this rust. And the key, your insulin, no longer fits properly. So what happens? The sugar cannot get into the cells efficiently, it stays in your bloodstream. Your body notices, panics a little, and produces even more insulin trying to force the door open. But the door is still stuck. Blood sugar rises, and the whole system starts to strain under the pressure. This is insulin resistance. This is the root cause of type 2 diabetes in the vast majority of people. And here's the most important thing I can tell you today. The rust can be removed not overnight, not with a magic pill, but through consistent strategic changes to what you eat and how you live. The very changes I'm going to walk you through right now, you can begin to restore insulin sensitivity. You can clean those locks. And when the locks are clean, the key starts working again. I want to pause here and ask you something, and I genuinely want you to think about this. Think back a few years, maybe 5 years ago, maybe 10. Think about what it felt like to eat a meal and just feel normal afterward. No crash, no heaviness, no reaching for the couch, energy that lasted through the afternoon, a body that just worked without you having to think about it every single moment. You had that once. And the reason it changed is not because your body failed you. It is not because of bad genetics or bad luck. It is because your body adapted the way any system adapts when it is under prolonged stress. It did the best it could with what it was given. And that is actually a hopeful thing, because systems that adapt to stress can also adapt back. The body is not broken, it is responding. And the moment you begin to give it what it actually needs, it begins to respond differently. This is the science. This is the reality. And this is what I see happen with patients over and over again. Now, let me be very clear about something before we go further, because I think it is important. I am not telling you to stop your medication. I am not telling you that dietary changes alone are a guaranteed cure for every single person. Every individual is different and the severity of the condition varies. What I'm telling you is that for a very significant number of people, backed by real clinical evidence, the right dietary approach has led to dramatic improvements in blood sugar levels. And for many, it has led to remission. A landmark study from Newcastle University demonstrated that significant dietary changes can restore normal blood sugar levels in people with type 2 diabetes. Not just improve them, restore them to normal. The direct trial, which involved hundreds of participants over several years, found that nearly half of the people who followed a structured dietary and lifestyle intervention achieved diabetes remission. Not just better numbers, actual remission. Research published in leading medical journals consistently confirms that weight management and targeted nutritional changes can dramatically improve how your body responds to insulin. These are not fringe studies. These are not internet myths. This is peer-reviewed science from respected researchers. The body has an extraordinary capacity to heal when given the right conditions. So let us talk about those conditions. Let us count down the most powerful dietary strategies starting from number 5 and working our way to the single most impactful change you can make. And before we get into the list, I want to say one more thing. If you are watching this and you have been living with diabetes for years, feeling frustrated, feeling like nothing is working, I see you. This is not your fault. You were given a very narrow picture of what is possible. Today, I want to give you a wider one. All right, let us start. Coming in at number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone, is fiber-rich foods. Now, the most common thing I hear from people managing diabetes is this: I have cut out all carbohydrates. I do not eat carbs at all anymore. And I completely understand why. You were told that carbohydrates raise blood sugar, so logically you cut them out. It makes sense. But here is what that advice misses entirely. Not all carbohydrates behave the same way in the body. There is a massive difference between a refined white bread roll and a bowl of steel-cut oats. A massive difference between white rice and a lentil soup. The fiber content changes everything. Here is why. When you eat fiber-rich foods, the fiber acts like a kind of slow-release mechanism for glucose. Instead of glucose flooding your bloodstream all at once, which is what causes those spikes, it is released gradually, steadily, at a rate your insulin system can actually keep up with. Fiber also does something else that is just as important. It improves insulin sensitivity over time. The right carbohydrates, the ones nature packaged with plenty of fiber, actually help your body use insulin more effectively with regular consumption. So what are we talking about specifically? Oats are one of the best, not the instant flavored packets. Why? Those are processed and loaded with added sugar. Plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats cooked simply, maybe with some cinnamon, which has its own blood sugar benefits that we will touch on. Millets are another excellent choice, and I want to highlight these because they are deeply underused. Millets are ancient grains that have been eaten in South Asian and African cultures for thousands of years. They have a naturally low glycemic index, which means they release glucose slowly. They are affordable, filling, and genuinely excellent for blood sugar management. Lentils and legumes, dal, chickpeas, kidney beans. These are high in fiber, high in plant-based protein, and they have a very gentle effect on blood sugar. A bowl of lentil soup is one of the most metabolically balanced meals you can eat. Okra is fascinating. It contains a mucilaginous fiber, a sticky kind of fiber that literally slows the absorption of sugar from the digestive tract. There is genuine research supporting its use in blood sugar management. If you have access to fresh okra, this is one to incorporate regularly. Raw salads, leafy greens, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers. These are essentially free foods for blood sugar. Very low glycemic impact, high fiber, high water content, and they slow down the digestion of everything else you eat alongside them. Studies consistently show that high-fiber diets significantly improve glycemic control. Not marginally, significantly. The practical takeaway here is simple. Aim to fill at least half of your plate at every meal with fiber-rich vegetables, legumes, or whole grains every single meal. This one habit alone begins to change the way your blood sugar behaves. The common mistake people make with fiber is replacing whole foods with so-called healthy packaged alternatives. A product labeled high fiber on a supermarket shelf is often still refined, still processed, and still capable of spiking blood sugar. We are talking about real, whole, minimally processed foods here. But fiber alone, as powerful as it is, why is only part of the picture? Because there are certain foods in nature that go beyond just slowing glucose absorption. There are foods that have been used in traditional medicine for generations and are now being validated by modern research for their direct impact on blood sugar regulation. This brings us to number 4. Number 4 on our list is blood sugar lowering superfoods. And I want to spend some real time here because this is where many people are leaving powerful results on the table. Let me start with bitter gourd, also known as bitter melon or kela in many parts of South Asia. Bitter gourd contains several compounds that work in a way that is genuinely remarkable. One of them, called polypeptide P, actually mimics insulin in the body. It behaves similarly to insulin in helping cells absorb glucose. Multiple studies have demonstrated that bitter gourd juice or extract can lower fasting blood sugar levels in people with type 2 diabetes. Now, I will be honest with you, it is bitter. It is an acquired taste. But if you can work it into your routine, even a small glass of fresh bitter gourd juice in the morning on an empty stomach, the effect on blood sugar is real and consistent over time. Fenugreek seeds are next, and these deserve particular attention. Fenugreek seeds are rich in soluble fiber. When you soak them overnight in water and consume them first thing in the morning, seeds and water, both something important happens. The soluble fiber forms a gel in your digestive tract that slows down carbohydrate absorption and improves the way cells respond to insulin. Research published in medical journals has shown that regular consumption of soaked fenugreek seeds can significantly reduce fasting blood sugar as well as post-meal blood sugar spikes. In one well-known study, participants with type 2 diabetes who consumed fenugreek daily saw meaningful improvements in their glycemic profile within just a few weeks. This is not a complicated ritual. Soak 1 to 2 tsp of fenugreek seeds in a glass of water overnight. In the morning, drink the water and chew the seeds. That is it. Simple, free, and backed by evidence. Pumpkin. And this one surprises people. Pumpkin has a low glycemic index despite its natural sweetness. It is rich in antioxidants and fiber. It slows digestion and has a gentle effect on blood sugar. Cooked pumpkin, pumpkin soup, roasted pumpkin, all of these are genuinely excellent for metabolic health. Onions are another one that most people overlook. Raw onions, particularly red onions, contain a compound called quercetin, which has been studied for its ability to lower blood sugar. They also contain chromium, a mineral that plays a direct role in how the body processes insulin. Including raw onion in your meals, even just as a small salad alongside your main course, is a simple habit with real benefits. The common mistake with these superfoods is expecting dramatic results in 3 days and giving up when that does not happen. These foods work through consistent, sustained use. Think of it like compound interest, small daily deposits that grow into significant returns over weeks and months. Consistency is the variable that separates the people who see results from those who do not. Not willpower, not discipline in the dramatic sense. Just showing up every day with these foods. Now we are moving into the heavy hitters. The next 2 strategies are the ones that deliver the most noticeable and sustained impact on blood sugar, and together with the top strategy, which I am going to reveal at the end, they form the true foundation of what diabetes reversal actually looks like in practice. Stay with me. Number 3 is nuts and seeds. And I want to address the fear around fat before we go any further. For a very long time, fat was the villain of nutrition. We were told to eat low fat, avoid fat, fear fat. And one of the most damaging consequences of that advice for people with diabetes is that they started avoiding nuts and seeds, foods that are genuinely transformative for metabolic health. Here's the truth: not all fats are the same. Healthy fats, the kind found in nuts, seeds, avocados, and olive oil, do not raise blood sugar. They do not cause insulin resistance. In fact, they do the opposite. Clinical research consistently shows that regular consumption of nuts improves insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and supports better long-term blood sugar control. Let us go through the best ones specifically. Almonds are one of the most well-studied nuts for blood sugar management. A handful of almonds consumed before or with a meal significantly reduces the post-meal blood sugar spike. There is solid research on this. One study found that eating almonds at the start of a meal reduced the glycemic impact of that meal by a meaningful percentage. The mechanism is partly the fiber, partly the protein, and partly the healthy fat content working together to slow glucose absorption. Flax seeds are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a type of omega-3 fatty acid, and insoluble fiber. Ground flax seeds are particularly effective because the grinding releases the beneficial compounds. Sprinkled over oats, mixed into a smoothie, or stirred into yogurt. A tablespoon of ground flax seeds daily has been shown to improve fasting blood sugar and insulin sensitivity over time. Chia seeds are exceptional. They are one of the most fiber-dense foods on the planet, and when you consume them, they absorb many times their weight in water and form a gel in your digestive system. This gel slows down the digestion and absorption of glucose dramatically. Chia seeds also have a near-zero glycemic index. They have almost no impact on blood sugar on their own and actively reduce the impact of the foods you eat alongside them. Pumpkin seeds are often overlooked, but are genuinely excellent. They are rich in magnesium, and this matters enormously. Magnesium is a mineral that plays a critical role in insulin signaling. It is directly involved in how cells respond to insulin. Research has shown that low magnesium levels are associated with higher insulin resistance, and that supplementing or increasing dietary magnesium can improve insulin sensitivity. Pumpkin seeds are one of the best food sources of magnesium. Available. Peanuts, technically a legume, but behave metabolically much like nuts. They have a low glycemic index, are high in protein and healthy fats, and consuming a small portion of peanuts alongside a higher carbohydrate food can meaningfully reduce the overall glycemic impact of the meal. The practical application here is straightforward. Pair nuts and seeds with fruits, with whole grains, with higher carbohydrate foods. Use them as a buffer. A small handful of almonds with an apple, some flax seeds stirred into your morning oats, a few walnuts with your afternoon snack. These small pairings create a metabolic effect that is genuinely significant over time. The mistake people make here is overeating nuts because they hear they are healthy. They are calorie-dense. A small handful, roughly 30 grams or about a4 of a cup, is the appropriate daily serving. More than